This is Why I Hate Machines is the 11th episode of Transformers Animated Season 3, 40th overall, and originally aired May 9th, 2009. In it, Fanzone and Ratchet become an unlikely pair trying to uncover Shockwave before he can get to RC. Shenanigans ensue. The episode begins with Ratchet messing around with the space bridge, as Fanzone's already angry.
Hold. The only thing I hate more than machines is tech support for machines!
So what's grinding his gears is the Coptors don't recognize him, probably because of some software update. Well, Ratchet is trying to decipher Bulkhead's bad handwriting. I don't exactly know where Bulkhead is, and this is somehow the only episode of Animated without Optimus in it. They kind of cheaped out with all the sticky notes saying the exact same thing, and kind of surprisingly, Derrick didn't come up with a unique Cybertronian text for Animated. But then the space bridge starts up and Fanzone gets sucked into it. So Ratchet, after taking out the Coptors, goes after him. And Fanzone ends up in his personal hell on Cybertron, which just like in G1 somehow has an atmosphere. I guess all the bots with Bumblebee's mold are having a reunion. This one kind of looks like G1B with the helmet. This turquoise lady is Glyph for all the hardcore Transformers fans. I guess the white one is Bugbite. And Huffer is breaking the mold. Powerglide walks by, who in Animated is orange for some reason, and I guess to keep up the theme of Autobots don't fly, he kind of has these tread details. And he's really big like the Universe Powerglide figure. This other big guy, played by Jeff, is Grandis, who's based on a Japanese G1 figure. It was another pretty deep-cut reference, and given what he transforms into, I think he was one of the platforms that Sentinel and crew were standing on last episode. And good thing they paid for that crowd shot last episode so we can have a lot of them in this episode. And calling back to Season 1, the Transformers are scared of organics. I called this one Firestar last episode, but it's actually Flare Up, who will later hear the voice of Susan Blue doing a southern accent. And with Huffer prominently on screen, we can talk about how with pipes he's a Mario Bros. Reference. And two cassette bots that make me question where's Blaster, Steeljaw, and Zur, who's probably a bigger deep cut than Glyph. Fanzone's nearly stepped on, but Ratchet arrives and they get out of there. And Ratchet realizes they're able to transport because Omega is finally around. He's actually happy to be home and he wants to go to his old watering hole, Macadon's Oil House, which is another really deep cut to the old comics, and this is again before he was retconned to be a god-king demigod like Alpha Trion. But the bar is closed because Sentinel released this anti-communist propaganda video about the Decepticons. Don't let this happen to you. I'm Sentinel Prime and I approve this message. Trax walks past hearing Ratchet remember that it was lockdown that caught all the cons. But Trax is more concerned about the organic, and he's still played by Townsend Coleman. The Elite Guard find fan shit and say they're breaking curfew.
You can take your curfew and your fear-mongering propaganda and blow it out your Sentinel Prime, sir!
Ratchet tries telling him Omega is why they were able to transport and why it's Batman the Animated Series outside. Well, Sentinel would have believed him more if he just said he walked here, and got proven immediately wrong. The cons are happy in exposition to themselves that they kinda got Omega working. They stopped teleporting randomly and got him to transform, but the weapons are offline. But Megs has a guy, Shockwave, who was unable to escape Cybertron. Screamer thinks they're gonna get shot down, but Megs is confident they're not gonna be that stupid, unaccounting for Dumbassimus Prime. With Ratchet realizing how much transwarp energy Omega's been sucking up because he's been teleporting randomly so long, he's gonna take out the plane if they shoot at him. The council will decide the fate. Later. I guess Cliffjumper is also out sick. But acting Magnus George Bush over here is pissed and thinks Ratchet's running his mouth too much, so has them arrested, but luckily Fanzone's being gross and human, freaking everyone out, which gives them the opportunity to escape. With Sentinel officially calling it Fortress Maximus and wanting all the power sent to it, but Jazz stays behind. Ratzone goes down the old abandoned tunnels, which might not be so abandoned because Shockwave is in it, and he's got the Magnus Hammer. So with the barrels of oil from earlier, remember this is the equivalent of Transformers just leaving beer cans all over. So the two Corey Burton characters fight, and yeah, Shockwave is tall and awkward, so he's not super effective with the hammer. And he wants the activation codes for Omega, so he can be obedient to Megs. They have a little bit of a tug-of-war, but Shockwave remembers RC exists. "I'm getting too old for this" is a reference to the line from Lethal Weapon, "I'm getting too old for this shit." The Council's pissed that Sentinel's stealing all the energy and giving it to Fort Max, but Sentinel says, "Trust me with your energy." Megs thinks that's funny, Screamer wants to leave, but Megs has a vision, you just gotta trust it. The Shockwave knows a guy, and that guy happens to be Rattletrap, who, well, obviously is the animated equivalent of Rat Trap. Rattle because he doesn't know what a rat is, and that's also apparently RT's Japanese name. His design's directly inspired by the BotCon 2006 set, where they took mostly Cybertron figures and made the pre-Beast Wars cast. RT being based on the ransacked mold, he even has the orange wheels on the side of his legs. These designs were used by Trent from the Isle of Rangoon to make the Theft of the Golden Disc animation. One day I'm just gonna re-upload that video he did with Derrick and Vangelus about the G1 episode, just so we can have that archived. Either way, Rattle's played by Tom, doing a Lou Costello voice. And Ratchet wants a thing to get to a place, and he knows that Rattle's been dealing with a certain traitor. And thanks to Fanzone's gross organicism, they give him the thing. And Fanzone knew he would be here because every town got a rat. Well, they shouldn't have trusted Risky because the key don't work. And Fanzone knew that Jazz was following them, but he actually wants to help them. Finding RC, and of course Fanzone doesn't know who that is, but Shockwave does, and I guess he was just hiding in a closet and Jazz left. Knocking him away, and on the escape, Ratchet recaps who RC is. And I love the detail that Shockwave's tank mode is just wide enough for the hallways, with sparks even coming out the sides, with it grinding against the walls. A lot of shows would have just given this like a humongous hallway so they didn't have to go for that effort. Fanzone and RC are locked away, and we get a pretty exciting intense fight between Corey. Even with Shockwave not being super skilled with the hammer, he's still intimidating, especially when they get knocked into the room with Magnus in it. But before he can finish him off, Ratchet remembers he has the EMP and blasts the hammer with the effect. Shockwave's getting knocked around a lot in this episode. Hell yeah. Just as Sentinel walks in, not knowing the situation. Rattletrap was also originally supposed to be in this scene, but they cut him for whatever reason. He would have added 5 seconds to the episode. Rattle also would have been an important character next season. But during that discussion, Shockwave managed to slip away, grab RC, and he can also fly.
This is why I hate machines. Certain machines more than others.
They're about to blast Omega, but the cons get away just in time. Tryon realizes that Ratchet and the Hickman is the real heroes of this story, so they send them home, and also they're taking the hammer with them so Sentinel doesn't get it. Bye! Jazz follows, but that's because he's not digging Sentinel's tune no more. The cons make it to the moon. Shockwave's feeling kind of Urple, and Megatron says he's his most loyal servant, which makes Lugnut very jealous. And it turns out RC might not be as brain dead as everyone thought. This is a great episode. This is sadly Fanzone's last episode, but it definitely goes out on a high note. Him and Ratchet work perfectly together, and a lot of other shows would be kind of too scared to have the two cranky old guys be the main focus of an episode, but I love that they actually gave them this time. It's really cool seeing Cybertron and all the different references. Even if the episode does feel like it goes by kind of fast, it also is able to tie in so much to past episodes, like Sentinel trying to take control, Magnus being the way he is, Shockwave, RC, Omega, the cons on Omega, and even a great setup for the finale, which is pretty impressive for a first-time writer to the series. Also, sadly, this is the last appearance of the twins. 10 out of 10. But let me know your opinions down below, as well as hitting the like button, subscribing, and if you hit Hype on Mobile, it's really appreciated.